everyone. I am so excited to be speaking with author Meg Muldoon, and she is an author extraordinaire because she has written so many books. And her latest one that we're going to be talking about today is called Meltdown in Christmas River. And she has the picture of it up on her pad so we can see the cover because I want everybody to see that cover. I love the cover. And this is book 10 in her Christmas River series. And thank you so much for speaking with me today, Meg.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you about my books.
Well, you know what's interesting is that I was reading this very intense thriller mystery book that I did an interview yesterday for. And I am not one of those people that likes that per se. Okay. Like I get scared. I kept putting it down. I was like, it goes in timeout. I'm putting that book in timeout because I can't deal with it right now. So when I started your book, I was like, oh, now this, because if somebody has to get murdered, okay, I want it to be like this. I want it to be fun. And, I was actually convinced, like, I'd have to say up until, like, not 50% of the book, but, like, a little bit under, I was like, there's not going to be a murder. Everybody's happy. This is all going so well.
That's cozy for you. Yeah, that's definitely how cozies roll.
Yes, yeah. I even went back to check because I was like, well, maybe it's not a murder. Maybe somebody just gets upset. Okay.
Throws a pie or something, right?
Throws a pie. Okay. So I have never read a book like yours, and I can't wait to share it with everyone because it describes food. Okay, I am on this kind of pseudo diet, we'll call it, trying not to eat stuff, okay? It's the trying not to eat stuff diet, right? And I'm reading your book and I'm like, I want pie. Because I love pie. Not everybody loves pie. That's not a thing. There's some people that are like, I don't really like pie. I love pie. I love a good crust. I make a good crust. I love my pie crust. And I love pie. So it was like midnight last night. I'm like, I can't even go to the store to get a piece of pie.
Yeah, I totally, yeah. I mean, I think that's a big part of cozies too. And I've gotten a few letters from fans telling me, oh, you made me like gain 5 pounds. I'm so upset. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just, I think it's just kind of a hallmark, and especially with my cozy, just because she owns a pie shop, and I mean, it's just kind of a given. She just has to talk a lot about food and everything. So I think I'm sorry for those of you who are on diets. It's probably not the best series to read if you're on a diet.
It's gonna have to happen. That's all I can say. This week it's gonna have to happen. So I'm not sure that I feel like baking a pie today because I just don't have time. But I do have time to go buy one and then eat it. So
well, that works too.
All right, well, let's talk about the story because it is book 10, and I really wanted to hear, are all of the Christmas rivers, are those all set during Christmas time?
No, I think I'm up to, maybe this is the third one. Sorry, the 10 books, a lot to keep in my head, but I think this is the third one that takes place fourth one that takes place at Christmas time, this latest one. And the rest kind of take place, I have a few that take place in July and throughout the rest of the year also. But, since it's called Christmas River and the town is kind of it's kind of a tourist place for people who love Christmas. There's always an element there of Christmas, even though, it might be September. So yeah, but, definitely, yeah, there's Santas and all sorts of shenanigans going on with Christmas.
And is every one of them, it is called a murder or cozy mystery. Are they all murder mysteries?
No, I think a lot of cozies kind of just stick to murders. I think that's kind of the traditional, like there's a murder and then the character has to kind of, usually like an amateur sleuth has to solve the murder. But 10 books in, I have a few, like most of them have murders, but I have a few different stories going on just because, I don't know, I try to kind of make the town as real as possible, even if, it's a small town, so logically, I mean, it's part of the cozy mystery genre, but it seems to me like having so many murders in a small town is a little like, it's hard to kind of fathom that. So I try and have different mysteries throughout. So like I have just other mysteries to solve, like arson and just different things like that.
That is
Throughout
so
this movie.
awesome. And you know, this is ever since I started doing this, which was just this year, I came across the word cozy. And
Yeah.
it's been new to me because as a reader, I never heard of it before. And then this one author that I interviewed in Canada, she was part of a Canadian cozy
Oh,
mystery, group. And I was like, what does cozy mean? And she's like, you kind of like cuddle up with it and it's not gonna, you're gonna love it instead of it being like, it's not like a tense book that you're just gonna sit there. And it also, as far as romance goes, just for everybody out there who's never heard of it, I mean, it's not sexually explicit. Anybody can read it. You don't have to worry about whether your 14-year-old daughter picks it up to read.
yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
can read
definitely.
it. I love
Usually-
that. Love that. I do. I am not one for extremes like that. That is not me.
Right. Yeah. Well, the cozy genre definitely. Yeah. There's. It's just very. I mean, they're kind of like easy reads, and it's interesting. It's really blown up recently. I feel like the last few years, the whole cozy genre. Because 5 years ago when I started, I think I would tell people, "Oh, I write cozy mysteries," and they'd be like, "What's that?" Like that's common. And nowadays, I feel like that people know what that is, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard of that," that kind of thing. And cozy too. I just feel like that word, just through our culture, has had such a just everybody loves, especially this time of year, cozy.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's interesting to watch that kind of grow and see people really respond to that.
Right. And even though it is a murder mystery, the thing is it's not graphic. There's nothing like I do not like graphic. That's what I'm saying. I'm like one of those readers where if it's a thriller, I mean, I can get through it as long as it's not too, but when we start getting into graphic stuff, I'm like, you know what? Life is news and I try to avoid the news. I don't want to deal with that kind of thing. I want to sit down with a book that's not going to be like life.
Yeah.
Like too much like real life.
Yeah.
I want it
to,
it's
the kind of thing that like you read before bed. Like you don't want anything to, that'll keep giving you nightmares or keep you up. You just kind of want something that just is easy and it kind of draws you into a world of just kind of coziness and the world that you might want to be part of and just enjoy visiting kind of deal.
I want to live there. Okay.
I get that a lot too.
Yeah, I know. First of all, for the being book 10, I have to tell everybody, I always worry because when I read a series, I do like to start one, I will start at the beginning. I did not have the time to do this, so I was like, well, it's also good to see if you can. And you absolutely, this is a standalone. I did not need, you did such a good job describing the town, describing the people. I wasn't lost. I didn't feel like I had to read a prior book to understand who these people were. I really understood it. I mean, and that's a real compliment because being on book 10, I can only imagine for you to fit it in and not make it look like obvious. Like, I think that was awesome. I mean, you did a great job. Yeah. And okay, so we aren't going to go in. We do not give spoilers, but just to give everybody a little, feel for it. The main character's name is Cinnamon. How much do we love that? Now, is she the main character all the way through?
Yeah, she is. So we start with her in book 1, and it's been kind of fun because it's book 10. So I feel like as I'm writing it, I see her kind of evolving, and just growing as a person and that kind of thing, which is really rewarding. Just to be writing that. But yeah, she's the main character throughout. And when we meet her in book 1, her situation's a little different, but now she kind of has her pie shop going. She's married to the sheriff. Typical cozy. But,
typical cozy. And, I love her name. And I love that her nickname, and now I'm not trying to think of the letter. It's Cindy P?
Yeah, so that's Warren. Her grandfather calls her that. He's the only one who calls her that.
I love that. That was so cute. And I grew up in a small town, which is, and I live close to that small town, but it's no longer that. It's kind of interesting because I think that's why I crave it is because you don't really get that very often anymore. And that town has now evolved into a way bigger. My high school was small. Everything was small. You knew everybody. You'd walk down the street. You knew who lived in what house. I mean, there is just something really awesome about that. from that
Yeah.
I think, and that's why it kind of took me back there, and I love that.
Oh.
But anyway,
yeah,
so
I think that's definitely part of the draw too with the whole cozy genre, because I think you have the small town, and yeah, it's like these ideals. I think that, I mean, it's hard to find towns like this nowadays, where it's like you have business owners, local business owners, not just chain kind of retail things, and everyone knows everyone, and I mean that's good and bad. But I think definitely there's some nostalgia with the cozy genre in terms of that.
Yeah, it was good or bad depending on what I was doing in high school, okay?
Yeah, exactly, right?
But I have to tell you, my daughter, who is watching this to put it out on social media, her name is Kara, and she spells it with a K. So she's going to be really happy that you used the name Kara as the best friend, and you spelled it with a K, because she'll say you spelled it right. So, okay. And all of these books begin with an M. So this one is Meltdown.
Meltdown, yes.
Yeah, and I love them. First of all, I love that. I love the way it ties them all together. And do they all have the gingerbread man on the front?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that he's the theme. I mean, I had a contest a couple years ago for like my readers to name the gingerbread man. So someone came up with Dante Ginger Snaps. So he forever known as Dante Ginger Snaps on the cover.
That. I like that, because I did look at a couple of the covers, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. It's really cute. You have to go back and look at her covers, because they have the poor gingerbread man's like in all kinds of predicaments in his life.
He's been through a lot. This poor little guy.
Yes, he's been through a lot. Now, this is what amazes me about writers like you. Okay, when I go to do your bio, because I find the book. I found your book on Amazon because I looked up Christmas novels, because that was what I wanted to do, right? So you came up, so that's awesome to hear, because those Amazon searches are, I know my authors love to hear that they come up on those. Because
that is awesome.
Somebody told me that 2,000 books get loaded a day in Amazon. So
that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? So anyway, so I found you, I read the book, and then I go back and I look at, your bio and everything else. And so I knew that it was part of a series, but you're not just writing this series. You are writing so many other series. What? How?
That's a good question. I feel like this genre in particular, it, like other genres, it's a little different, but this one in particular, readers are really voracious and they want their books, and they want, it's like, I kind of look at the books kind of as like TV episodes. Like this is like binge watching a whole, season of a series. So I keep that in mind. So I don't know, for a while I was like, right. And I feel like I'm even in, like, compared to other writers in this genre, I'm a little slow. Like, I'm a slow writer. I think this year I only came out with 2 books. Last year I think I came out with 4. And it's just, it's kind of the rules of the genre. Like, not everyone goes, by those rules, but I feel like, you just have to kind of keep writing, and readers always want the next book. And I just feel like I'm kind of trying to keep up with that and just give them, satisfying reads, but being consistent.
Well,
so,
the one thing is that this is not a small book. This is not an under 200-page book. This is a nice sized book too, because that's what a lot of authors who write series do, is they just make them a little bit shorter. But this is a nice sized book. I mean, we can't hold it physically because it just came out, but it just is like, I was like surprised, because I'm like thinking these aren't like, under 200 pages. These are a nice size, nice story size book that you're writing, and also all these other series. So let's say you're writing with this series, because right now, how many do you have going? Like 3 or 4 series?
Yeah, I have a few. I mean, like, it's always hard. I find writing with it, the farther you get into a series, the harder it becomes to continue writing that series, because you just have so much you have to, and I find too, my books have become a lot longer as I go further into the series. Like, the first book was Murder in Christmas River, is probably about 45,000 words. And then now it's, I'm writing probably like 76,000 words, whatever that translates to pages. But it's definitely gotten longer. So I kind of feel like it just, but yeah, I have a few different series going. But my point with that was just that sometimes it's hard. It's just easier to write a new series. Like if you get, and I have all these ideas, and sometimes I just am like, oh, I gotta write, like I have this idea for a character and a kind of premise, and I feel like I gotta write this book, but that leads to just having a lot of series going. And it's kind of not always so easy. So
yeah, because okay, so it's like if you're gonna write a Christmas River book, do you just stick with that book? Like, are you just like zeroed in on this is the book I'm writing right now, or do you get kind of like I would get like me? I'm thinking about my brain. I would be like, okay, today I'll write some Christmas River. Okay, tomorrow I'll do another series. Okay, and then you're also writing a series with another author, and it's like you have so much to juggle. Like, do you ever get bored, or do you have to like zero in on it to keep it straight?
I find that like for a while I was kind of experimenting with going between series, like writing two books at once, going like maybe in the morning I would work on one in the series and then a different series in the afternoon. But I found that it just I think it's easier just to focus for me anyway. I feel like I just have to like focus on one at a time. That's kind of what I've learned.
Right.
So I just have to yeah, it's a lot of focus and discipline because I always feel like I have a lot of like ideas for different characters and series, and sometimes I just have to tell myself like stop, like just focus on what you're doing. So it's yeah, you have to kind of balance that.
Well, when I what I loved about your book was that it was so enjoyable. Like not only just the plot, but your writing style. I loved the phrasing of your sentences and the little like things that you kind of put in there. I mean, it was just I know that it seems like easy, but I can tell that it's not. To stick little things about people and just their thoughts and so I went back. I read your book and then I went back and I wanted to see what the first line of not the epilogue, okay, not the very beginning, but the first line of your book, right? Because sometimes after you finish the book, you have a different perspective on the beginning. Like sometimes I do that as a reader. I may be weird, but that's just me. Because when you're first opening up a book, you're not understanding, and then after you read it, you're like, oh, well, let me see how she opened that. I forget. Like, I want to see. So this was the first line of your book, and I love this line. And it says, you probably know it, but everybody knows. Tell it to me straight, Sin, and don't dare sugarcoat things. Okay, so right there for me, it's like that was a double, she's a baker. Okay, but we all know what sugarcoat means, and she's talking to her best friend, and I was like, what a great way to open. See, those are the kind of things that you do throughout the whole book, though, and I love that. I really do, and it made even the love story so much more interesting to me because it, how many love stories do we read? You know what I mean? It's like, and you start to think, oh, well, how many different ways can you tell it? It wasn't about that. It was the way you wrote it that I just loved. I love the way you wrote their conversations, the way you wrote, because some of it was like I said, for the beginning of the book, I was like, nothing bad's happening. What is she talking about? There's not going to be a murder. But the way that you ended the chapters, and I was like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? And it makes me want to turn to the next chapter right away because I want to see what you were talking about in that. And so, I just wanted to give you as much compliment as I can that
thank you.
That I really enjoy your writing. And
I
can really tell how much you try to phrase those sentences to mean stuff and that it matters like to readers like me. I loved it.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really kind. Yeah, I mean, it just I try to just keep to the characters' voices and try to think about what they would say. Like, is this out of character for them to say? And it's small. It's very kind of small town, so I have a lot of similes in there and just kind of like fun. I just try and make it kind of a fun read with fun characters and.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about what is coming up next because this book. When did this book come out?
Meltdown, the most recent.
Yes, Meltdown.
Oh, it just came out a couple days ago.
Wow.
So.
Great.
Yeah.
Because I was actually looking for like a date on it and I couldn't find one. So that is why, because it is brand new.
Brand new.
So that's awesome. So we'll get this out for everybody to hear about. And do you have one that's already like hanging in the background waiting for anything, or are you still just writing right now?
Yeah, I'm still writing right now. So next is going to be, book 11. It's just crazy to say. It's a lot of books. But Mistake in Christmas River. Of course, it's an M title
Yes.
again. So yes, that's going to be. I'm excited about that because as I was like finishing up this book, I had all these ideas for the next one, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes you're just like, I don't ever want to like see this again. I'm so tired. But actually, I feel really like excited about the next book and working on that. And in terms of the other series, yeah, I guess we'll see as the year goes along. I have a few that I have to write in those for sure. So.
Well, I want to tell everybody to go to your website because she has recipes on there. Oh, meaning to ask you, what is a Marion berry?
Oh, Maryberry. Oh, I'm so glad you asked me
I'm
that.
in Pennsylvania. I do not know what that is. Okay.
I love talking about the pies in this book and everything. So Marionberry is something I grew up in Oregon, and that's where the series is based. So it's a variety of blackberry, but it's like special to Oregon. Like they grew this particular berry, Marionberry, in Marion County in Oregon, and yeah, it's like a sweeter version of a blackberry. So if you go out to the Pacific Northwest, it's pretty popular up there, those pies with the Marionberry pies, and they're very delicious. So
well, because I saw some comments on your website and women are like, oh my God, I love Marionberry pies. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she didn't make that up. Like, that's a thing. That is an absolute, that is an absolute thing. And you have you have a bunch of recipes on there, which I'm so happy about.
Yeah, there are a few.
Yeah, there are, and I think that's a great idea to keep that up. The recipes that you talk about, because when she's describing pies or even tea, when she's describing tea, I'm like, I need to go get a cup of tea. Of course, I have bland, but she I don't know, for every situation, and she's like, oh, I think we just need this kind of tea or that kind of pie, or she always has like. Something very, very tasty in mind for fixing problems. So,
yes, it's true. There's a lot going on in her kitchen.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I love that. But anyway, hold up the thing so everybody can, the cover, so everybody can see it again. And I will have all of Meg's sites, all her social media links. There we go. There's our gingerbread man, Dante.
Or Dante.
Or Dante. He's drowning in, is that tea or hot cocoa?
It's tea, but I kind of see him melting into it. It's very sad.
Yes, absolutely. So I will have all of your things up there for everybody to find you. It would be a great idea for a Christmas book for everybody who loves reading about Christmas in a novel, which I do love. So I want to thank you and thank you for your writing. And I'm so, so happy that I got to meet you.
Oh, I'm so glad I got to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and if you just give me a little heads up when that next one comes out.
Oh, yeah. I will.
I would love to read it. I really would. I'd love to read it, Meg. So thank you so much. You have a great day.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.